is Vice Provost of for Technology and Innovation at ASU in the Office of the University Provost Senior Research Professional in the School of Life Sciences. He's a bigwig. As part of this role, he oversees technology integration and innovation. His primary, and you'll be surprised by his slides, which I just advanced myself. Here, you hold this. His primary research interest is in biological imaging, and he serves as the technical director of the WM Keck Bioimaging Laboratory. He is the creator and developer of Ask the Biologist website, which has a corner dedicated called Body Depot, dedicated to our project. It's an amazing site, downloaded and referenced by millions of visitors. And he's the co-developer of the paper project, which is actually exhibited here. He is also an artist that works in both real and virtual worlds of visual arts. So please help me welcome.
Well, thank you. Well, it's good to see you, and I actually can still see you. That's even better. So I get the pleasure of talking first, and it's to set the stage, I think, because I'm going to set the stage for the amazing work that these other colleagues are going to be talking about. Now, we have the title, Unbelievable Frontiers, right? So if you start thinking about unbelievable frontiers, I'm sure you're off in far, far away galaxies. But in reality, we're going to be doing the unbelievable frontiers right here. Not only right here, but inside of you. Because that's what we've been working on. We've been studying different ways to actually communicate how our bodies work. And as much as we think we know, and I think you'll see everyone up here say, hey, look all the cool things we're learning, we have so much more to learn. So I'm going to be telling you a story, because that's the other part of my role, communicating science. I think that if we were better storytellers as scientists, we wouldn't have a STEM crisis right now. Because fact is actually better than fiction. It's amazing what is going on in your human body. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take you on less than 10 minutes. We're going to do the immune system, okay? So these characters, they kind of look ominous, don't they? And we're going to actually go into what's called viral attack. This is a collaborative piece that we developed with this NIH grant. It's a comic book. So this is the other thing. We always think we have to go to the new technology, especially with the title, the Vice Provost of Technology and Innovation. It means I must have to do all the new cool things. Well, it's true that I like all that, but I also don't want to forget what works that we've already used. And comic books are really great. It's great for learners of all ages. Because if you didn't get the information, you can get it. The biggest thing is we don't want to leave you there. So you're going to see, I'll point out some ways that you can learn more after you leave here. So, like all stories, we have to have our characters. And our characters here are played by young actors. If you come to the Science Center, either with your children or your students, you can actually act this out. Or if you're a teacher, you can download the comic book I'm going to be showing parts of, and you can act it out in the classroom. So now you have your storyboard already preset. So let's go through this. We have a macrophage you see up there. We have T cells. There's a helper T cell, a killer T cell. Sounds great. B cells, and then epithelial cells. So let's talk about this. The human body has a little under 40 trillion cells. Little factoid. And over 200 different types of cells, of which the epithelial cell is one of those. So if you touch your skin, roll your tongue around in your mouth, you're touching epithelial cells. They line your intestines, they surround your organs. They're basically the barriers for protecting your body. And because of that, they have a tendency to be the ones that at first attack. So let's start our story. So this young man has a sore throat. Now I'd have you raise your hand who's had a sore throat. I should have raised your hand if you not had a sore throat. I'm a wimp. This is one of my things that I hate the most is a sore throat. And anybody who knows me knows why. Because I don't like to stop talking usually, so this is one way that would do it. So he probably got this by either touching a railing or a handle that had a virus on it, that was someone else who maybe had coughed and used their hand instead of coughing into their arm, and transferred it there, or they were in a room where someone was sneezing, and again, didn't cover it properly. No matter what, they got a virus. Might be just one. So we have one virus, and it seems okay, right? But viruses are a little tricky little devils. If you don't know about them, you might think they're alive, and some people, you know, I suppose there's some scientists that might still want to argue that point. But they're really just a complex molecule. But they have one really interesting thing they can do. And that's when they get inside a cell, which they can trick it to get inside, they can also trick it to make more viruses. Now, as our character shows you, hey, no big deal, one virus. But if it's tricking it to make more viruses, what happens? It starts to get a little bit uncomfortable, starts to feel a little bit sick, and now there's a problem. So it sends out an alarm. You actually know what this alarm's like, at least one of them. You have cut yourself a paper cut or a little sticker, and you've had a little bit of a red part, you know, placed to it, a little inflammation, maybe hurts a little bit. Those are some chemicals that were sent out, and it's actually saying, hey, we're going to need some help here. So the alarm goes, and from the alarm, it keeps going out, but in the meantime, the virus is reproducing. What do you think happens? Yeah, kapow. And our poor cell explodes, it actually breaks open, and we have all the viruses. In the meantime, the macrophage is on the way. So this is the first cell in your immune system. So what it does is it comes in, and the name of the macrophage is really a good one, because macro means big, phage means to eat. It's a big eater. So it's designed to eat either bacteria or viruses. And not all bacteria, by the way. I don't want anybody leaving here thinking all bacteria are bad. And in fact, we couldn't live without a lot of the bacteria we have in our body. So we have the macrophage working here, and it's cleaning the mess up. But it turns out that there are way too many to deal with. So the macrophage has a signaling mechanism, and it's going to call in the next round. Now, if you think of the macrophage like like your general soldier, they can work with a lot of different viruses, a lot of different bacteria, and they can work on, you know, eating them and breaking them down. But if you need the real troops, you have to pull in the T cells, and they're both the helper T cells and the killer T cells. And you can think of them as special forces, right? They're designed just to protect that against that one, well, in this case, virus. And so when they get in there, the helper T cell coordinates, and the killer T cell brings along something that's called cytotoxin. Now, the cytotoxin, when it gets inside a cell, it can recognize cells that are sick, gets into the cell, then it will unfortunately have to kill that cell, but it also kills those viruses that are inside of it. So to do that, we have a cytotoxin gun, right? I'll let you guys look through this as we're going, right? So we have the cytotoxin gun, gets it all set to go. The famous, you know, scene in the action movies where they have the heroine come in and takes the gun to shoot and protect the town, and here it shoots, and bam. What happens? It breaks apart that cell, and it goes ahead and destroys the viruses. So far, so good? All right, here's the next phase. All right, we can eat the ones that are out there. We can detect the ones that have been infected, but there are still viruses that are not in cells that we have to get rid of. And this is where the helper T cell signals for those last set, the B cells. So the B cells come in, and when the B cells get here, they have a unique ability to release antibodies that cause the viruses to clump together. That deactivates them, so they can't infect cells, and it makes it easier for the macrophage to eat them. So we got a trio that's really doing a good job. Now, the last part of your immune system is probably one of the cooler parts. So if we have these T cells and B cells that are very specific for the kinds of viruses you have, you want to make sure that if that virus comes back, it would remember them. So that some of those B cells and some of those T cells will convert into memory T cells and memory B cells. And so what can happen is, oh, wait a second here. That's just a text from the B cell that said it detected a virus that I had last week and it already took care of it. So what's happening is they know about those particular viruses, and you often don't even know you are going to get sick again because it's already in your body. So that's the story of what's going on inside the cells. So to summarize, we have a macrophage, right? What does it do? Eats, right. Eats a lot, right? Doesn't eat like you and I do. It actually does a thing called phagocytosis. It actually engulfs that, whether it's a virus or a bacteria, it'll go ahead and engulf it, pulls it in, and then it uses enzymes to break it apart. All right, the next thing we have is the T cell, right? Both a helper and a killer T cell. Which one do you want to be? The killer T cell or the helper T cell? You want to be the helper T cell. That's a good choice. All right? And then what's the last cell we were talking about? B cells. Okay. And then there are both the helper and the T cells and the B cells. What can they do after they've done their job? All right, this is a great class. I love this. So they can remember. So it makes it much better for your body when you get to the next stage. Now, one of the things I need to point out to you is right here, right down in the corner here, you saw that little gold icon with an eye. Because there's a lot more to this story that's even cooler than what I've been able to do in this really short time. So if you go to the website, just type Body Depot in Google, you'll find us. And you can explore this and go behind the scenes. This is some of the things you're going to be learning about from the rest of my colleagues here. And so you can see like the macrophage under the microscope actually devouring some bacteria. Okay? So there's a great place for you to visit. And the way to get there, I'll show you here in just a second, is through this website, askabiologist.asu.edu. And you can see the rest of Body Depot, Body-Depot. And I'd like to thank the people that made this happen. And you'll see that we have the original script, was by Shali Fish. We have illustrations. These fabulous illustrations you saw was Sabine Davish. And I don't know if Sabine came in here. She always is so shy, but I'm hoping she came. She's an amazing illustrator. And they both James Baxter and Sabine Davish were the ones that did the color work. And it was produced with this wonderful collaboration with the Science Center and ASU School of Life Sciences and the Ask a Biologist project. With that, yeah.